Hey guys, this is Tan Colbert Tech Repair, and this is today's tech news. China has finally landed on the moon. Now, China's first ever moon rover is driving on the lunar surface after successfully separating from its lander to begin exploring the moon. Now, Saturday, China finally landed on the moon, and it is only the third country to do it, following the Soviet Union and the United States. Now, this is just a peaceful moon landing. China's just wanting to say, hey, we made it to the moon, and they're wanting to explore. There has been some talk of, well, what would happen if China removed the American flag from the moon, and then people are saying there'll be moon wars, but I don't think that will happen. It's pretty much just China just wanted to say, hey, we finally made it to the moon, and they're wanting to explore on their own. A key Microsoft engineer defected to Google. Blaise Agara-e-Akars, who played a key role in development of Microsoft's Bing, has left the software giant for a position at Google. Now, he was an engineer and imagery expert who played a key role in the development of Bing, and he has left the company for Google. At Microsoft, he focused on augmented reality, mapping, wearable computing, and natural interfaces, and was an architect of Bing Maps and Bing Mobile. He was named a distinguished engineer in 2011 and oversaw development of PhotoSynth, a 3D panorama photo app. At Google, he will focus on machine learning. This is a quote from Microsoft. "He was a great colleague, and we wish him the best in his future endeavors." So it seems that he could be doing this just because he got tired of Google, or if you're a conspiracy theorist, he could be spying for Microsoft on Google, or he could be spying on Google for Microsoft. You never know. But it seems that he just got tired of being with Microsoft and decided to go over to Google because he feels that Google is a better company. It seems that Amazon workers are striking in Germany, and they plan to move over to Seattle. So Amazon will soon have a strike at Seattle headquarters. The employees have been on strike and demonstrating at 2 fulfillment centers in Germany and plan to host a rally outside the company headquarters in Seattle at 10 a.m. Pacific today. Now, the rally will be an offshoot of the ongoing dispute between Amazon and its employees in Germany, where workers at 2 fulfillment centers have demonstrated against the company, arguing that they are not being treated as humans. And I quote, "The workers are treated more as robots than humans." That's what one of the organizers has said. It is not clear what exactly they are looking for from Amazon, however. Many of the workers from the German facilities will be making their way to Amazon headquarters. They are hoping that people locally will be sympathetic and for their efforts and join in. So this has been happening a lot with a lot of bigger corporations. People are finally getting tired of being treated like animals, being treated like robots in factories. We've heard of the Chinese workers in iPhone factories jumping off the buildings and committing suicide, and factory work over there is not very good. So it seems that the conditions in Amazon's factories are not any better. I hope that the strikes go well and Amazon changes some of their policies. Now, it seems that attackers have exploited Adobe's Cold Fusion to install Microsoft IIS malware. So attackers have exploited a vulnerability in Adobe Cold Fusion to install data-stealing malware that works as a module for Microsoft's Internet Information Services, or IIS, web server. Now, researchers from the security firm Trustwave recently reported that they've identified IIS web servers infected with malicious modules designed to steal information submitted by users on websites hosted on those servers. Now, those modules are rogue DLL files and were installed by a malware program that the researchers dubbed ISN. It infects both 32-bit and 64-bit versions of IIS-6 and IIS-7. Now, what the malware does is it detects the version and installs a corresponding DLL module, which then monitors post requests or data submissions to specific URLs and saves the information to a log file. So this method allows the data to be collected even if the connection between the user and the server is protected by SSL. The captured data can be, for example, personal and payment details entered on e-commerce site running on a compromised server, and the rogue DLLs are also enable attackers to send certain commands through parameters in order to download the stored information. This malware is being installed on compromised servers by exploiting a remote authentication bypass vulnerability in Adobe Cold Fusion. Adobe has released a patch for the vulnerability back in January, a few weeks after warning customers that the vulnerability was being actively exploited. This incident is outlining a problem that many organizations have when it comes to adjusting the patching schedules to keep up with malware. Malware is growing day to day. People are producing new malware, new worms to go in and try to steal people's information. Just recently, Adobe was compromised, Facebook and Twitter was compromised, along with LinkedIn, and there have been dating sites such as the OkCupid franchise that have been compromised. So it's always good to have a password update schedule. Change your passwords as often as possible, once a month, once every 2 months, and make sure you do not have the same password across all accounts, because then if you are compromised on one account, then hackers can have access to all of your personal information on all other accounts. Valve's Steam Machine prototype has been unboxed, and people are starting to review it. Now, Valve has begun shipping the prototype to 300 users, and it seems so far that reviews have been pretty good. For a gaming box that most people will never get to use, Valve said it will not turn the prototypes into a commercial product. Now, if you don't know what SteamOS is, it's Valve's attempt to create an open, Linux-based gaming system designed for the living room. This will not replace the operating system on your PC. This is meant to play on the TV, such as Nvidia's Shield. Now, hardware partners will release their own Steam machines next year. There have already been examples by iBuyPower, Pixel, and Digital Storm, but for now, Valve is testing the operating system by sending free hardware to a few hundred Steam users. Now, the console itself looks like a small desktop PC. As you can see here in this picture, it looks just like a regular console, but it will sit behind your TV, with plenty of vents to blow out hot air, to blow the hot air around. Around back, there's a lot of ports, including 6 USB slots and outputs for HDMI, DVI, DisplayPort, and component. Now, the prototype specs can vary by the unit. Some will have Nvidia's Titan graphics processor, while others will have the GTX 780, 760, or 660. Some boxes will come with a Intel Core i7 4770, while others will have either an i5 4570 or a Core i3 chip. Now, all the prototypes come with 16 gigabytes of RAM, 3 gigabytes of GPU RAM, and 1 terabyte of hybrid solid-state mechanical drive storage. Now, the box itself is roughly a foot long and deep and just under 3 inches thick. Now, for those who weren't randomly chosen to receive a prototype, there is a beta of SteamOS available for download, but it is only recommended if you have prior Linux knowledge. And finally, if you haven't switched from Windows XP, you need to very quickly. Windows XP is nearing the retirement cycle for its support. In April of next year, Microsoft will execute on its long-published maintenance plan and stop commercial support for Windows XP. Windows XP will stop receiving security updates even for highly critical security flaws. They will quit patching Windows XP for security flaws, so if you are still running Windows XP, you will be vulnerable to malware attacks and worms that Microsoft themselves will not patch. Now, networks that include Windows XP computers will become undefendable and will invite attackers inside. Now, there are steps that you can take to lower the risk, such as switching to a supported browser, email, or Office program. But these are just band-aids that prolong XP's useful life by a few months. Now, the only way to adjust the system is to migrate to a supported operating system. Now, I myself recommend Windows 7 over Windows 8 because I hate the Metro interface, but if you can disable the Metro interface, Windows 8 does have a better shell and leaves a much smaller footprint. So, if If you have not switched from Windows XP, please do as quickly as possible. They will stop doing support in April. My personal recommendation is Windows 7. If you think you can handle the Metro interface, feel free to go with Windows 8. But you need to upgrade regardless. Alright guys, this has been Colbert, Colbert Tech Repair. I hope you enjoyed today's tech news. If you liked it, give me a like. If you didn't, feel free to give me a dislike. You can get a hold of me here on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at TanColbert92, and you can find me also on Facebook at facebook.com/ColbertTechRepair. See you next time.